The Ice type is a great offensive typing in Generation 1, especially with access to moves like Ice Beam and Blizzard, which are both available by TM, and Freeze is definitely the strongest status you can inflict. And then there's Steel typing, which doesn't exist in Gen 1, but in later gens is a great defensive type. So what would happen if this existed in Gen 1 and you combined it with the Ice type? Well, today we're going to find out when I run Alolan Sandslash through Pokemon Blue. Rules are in the description. The first thing I gotta say is I really like this sprite. I'll have a link down below to the GitHub repository that I got it from. The next thing I want to get into is the stat differences between the Alolan form and the Cantonian form. The Alolan form has slightly more defense, but if you were to look at its special stats, its special attack is only 25, and considering Sandslash's special in Gen 1 is 55, for today I decided to go with the higher special stat of 65. We are an Ice type after all, and one of the new moves I backported is going to be extremely overpowered for Gen 1 purposes, because it's a multi-hit move, and you just saw that move in full display against the first rival here, and that move is Icicle Spear, an Ice type move with 25 power, 30 PP, and 100% accuracy, making it extremely powerful for Gen 1 purposes. Before I get into the rest of Sandslash's deep level up moveset, I want to note that I chose the generation it came from for its moveset, Gen 7, specifically Sun and Moon. Its Alolan form is a Stone evolution, and like most Stone evolutions, the 4 moves it gets are it. What I previously said about its deep level up learn set, yeah, that was a joke. It starts with multiple moves at level 1, and I decided to go with 3 new moves, and one that's going to stay on our moveset for the entirety of the run for badge boost purposes. The first move I backported was Metal Claw. While it's only 50 base power and not 100% accurate, I wanted something for stab purposes for our Steel typing. The second move is Icicle Spear, I've already explained this one, and the last one is Icicle Crash. This is an 85 base power ice move with 90% accuracy that has the chance to flinch. With all that out of the way, let's jump into the playthrough. I'm going to be going on minimum battle straight to Brock. Since we're part Steel type, we are immune to poison type moves, or at least I fully thought that. I'll get more into that later in the video. And with both Icicle Spear and Icicle Crash on my moveset, Brock isn't going to be a challenge. No intro for the Rock type specialist this week. It's one use of Icicle Spear for both Geodude and Onix, and I get lucky as it hits 3 times and then 4 times against each Pokemon. And as we head towards Route 3, Sandslash has one huge advantage going for it, and that's that it has a lot of PP on all of its moves, combined with our Steel typing, so we're going to be taking little damage from anything that we don't knock out in one hit. I don't even need to heal at the Pokemon Center before Mount Moon. More PP, less problems, as they say, right? And speaking of Mount Moon, there are some items I'm going to pick up, along with some optional battles I'm going to pick up. First, I start with the rare candy, along with the escape rope. Next is the first of 3 optional battles. The first is against this lass with an Oddish and a Bellsprout. The second is against this hiker with 2 Geodudes and an Onix, and the last is against the Rocket Raticate Grunt. And when Sandslash knocks out the Super Nerd's Grimer at the end of Mount Moon, it levels up to 16. I didn't want to be too underleveled for Cerulean City, because sometimes both Rival 2 and Misty can cause problems. I take the Helix Fossil as I leave, sorry my Dome Fossil fans, and once we arrive in Cerulean, I'm going to take on Rival 2 next, and I still haven't saved my game to this point. And with other Pokemon, this could potentially be one of those high-risk, high-reward things to get a better real-time, but with Alolan Sandslash, it just dominates this portion of the game. Now, I will say that I got pretty lucky here that Pidgeotto missed a sand attack. I'm able to one-shot it, and I'm able to sweep through the rest of his team until I get to the Charmander. I'll admit that this thing had me slightly worried because we are 4 times weak to fire moves, and Ember could do some serious damage at this portion in the game. And while a 5-hit Icicle Spear would have one-shot this thing, it wastes its only turn in battle going for Growl. Next up is Nugget Bridge, and the only thing I have to say here is thank God for having a lot of PP in our moves. Icicle Spear being able to one-shot opponents from hitting multiple times and having 30 PP is a godsend. But Sandslash will be getting an upgrade on its moveset as soon as we get back into town, and I'm sure you can already guess what move that's going to be. It's going to be the one you get after you defeat the innocent bystander, as he says, Dig. And I'm going to teach this right away in the place of Metal Claw. I really wish this thing would have got Iron Head in Sun and Moon. It does learn it as an Alolan Sandshrew though. Perhaps I'll have to play through the game with that to see what it can do with the addition of a good Steel type move. Anyway, let's go ahead and face Misty. Against Staryu, I'm going to set up 2 defense curls for badge boost purposes. One thing to note is that both of her Pokemon outspeed me. I don't think I needed the critical hit, but Dig one-shots Staryu, and out comes her ace Starmie. It opens the battle by critting its first water gun, while Dig does a little over half, and had this thing gone for Bubble Beam 2 times in a row, and crit both of them, we probably would have lost this. It does hit me with a Bubble Beam, bringing me to 6 HP thanks to a Gen 1 miss with Dig. But thankfully I don't Gen 1 miss twice in a row, we get our Cascade badge, and we can move on. And this will bring us to Vermilion City, where we have a change from the green water from Muck's Run. Now we've got this nice cool blue water. On the SSN, I am going to pick up the TM for Body Slam, but I'm going to be skipping the Gentleman Candy and jumping straight into the battle against Rival 3. And this battle goes exactly how you would expect it would. One-shots on his entire team. Of course, Sandslash does outspeed his entire team for now, but that's going to change in the future. From here, we can jump right into the battle against Lieutenant Surge, and I do make one mistake in this battle. Against Pikachu, I really should have just kept going for Icicle Spear, but I tried to switch to Dig and accidentally hit Defense Curl because I don't hit up on my cursor enough. Luckily, it doesn't punish me with something like Thunder Wave, and you could lose to the Raichu if it were to crit with Thunderbolt and paralyze you. But none of that happens today. Sandslash is 3 for 3 on gym battles, and we can move on. And as we make our way towards Rock Tunnel, this is when I'm going to teach Sandslash Body Slam. But I have a choice to make. Which move do I give up now between Icicle Crash and Icicle Spear? Do I want to give up the multi-hit move that's 100% accurate, or the 85 base power move with 90% accuracy? In the end, Icicle Crash is the choice. We will be getting Blizzard as a TM later on that's also 90% accurate, but has 110 base power in Gen 1. There's also the TM for Ice Beam, which is 5 power stronger, the same amount of PP, and 100% accurate as well. But because of Icicle Crash, we won't be picking that up from the little girl in Celadon. We're going to get a different TM instead. Upon exiting Rock Tunnel, I am going to pick up one optional battle against this super nerd. He's a decent experience yield and he has 2 Grimers and a Muck. Sandslash can easily one-shot his entire team with Dig. Once I arrive in Celadon, I do my normal shopping of buying super repels, selling off TMs I won't be using, I buy a freshwater, and a water stone for the Eevee I picked up. I forget to give the little girl a soda pop for Rock Slide, but I'll come back for that a little bit later. But for vitamins, I only have enough for 2, and I decide to go with Carbos. Speed is going to be a huge problem later on in this playthrough, and I'm sure you can guess where. After my shopping, I get Fly from the girl out west, and then I head to the Rocket Game Corner to battle Giovanni. And the nice thing in this battle is that Icicle Spear nearly takes out his entire team. I'm a little surprised that Rhyhorn is able to withstand 2 hits. And I get a 5-hit on Kangaskhan as Giovanni just uses a guard spec. With Team Rocket chased out of town and the Silph Scope in hand, the only thing left to do is battle Erica. This battle doesn't deserve an intro, but I really think I should have tested the damage that Icicle Spear would have done to Victory Bell. While Dig does do over half to it, it puts me to sleep with Sleep Powder, and thankfully its Razor Leaf does very little damage, but it wastes my time with Wrap. Thankfully Sandslash is only asleep for 4 turns, and Victory Bell gets a 5-turn Wrap, which is a bit annoying. Once I'm free from the trapping move, I go for Dig, knock out Victory Bell, level up, and move on to the Tangela, where the trapping moves continue. Icicle Spear gets a 2-hit as it goes for Bind. It's only a 2-turn bind, so it doesn't waste as much time. I knock it out, and last is Vileplume. Icicle Spear comes in clutch, hitting 4 times, which is enough for the knockout. Alright, time for everybody's favorite rival battle, the Pokemon Tower rival. And this battle was a huge eye-opener for me. It was the moment I realized I forgot Rock Slide, but also that Gyarados could be a problem later on. I decided to go for Icicle Spear on this thing as opposed to Body Slam. It hits twice, doing about a third, and Gyarados retaliates with a Hydro Pump that crits, bringing me to 23 HP. Fortunately for Sandslash, it's 11 levels higher, and Body Slam can knock it out from here. His last two Pokemon are Kadabra and Charmeleon. Body Slam one-shots the Frail Psychic type, and I have Dig for the Fire Lizard, who will soon be immune to this move. So after Pokemon Tower, we have two choices on where to go next, Silph Co or Fuchsia City. Neither are a bad choice for this Pokemon, but one definitely makes more sense to me. If we were to head to Fuchsia afterwards, we can battle Koga, whose attacks we are immune to, and get a speed boost from his badge. We could then battle Blaine next if we wanted to, but that's a terrible idea. But an early victory over the Fire-type specialist who has 4 times super effective damage to us would give us a special boost thanks to his badge. The choice is obvious. I'm going to head to Fuchsia, but first I'm going to make a pit stop in Celadon and get the TM for Rock Slide. We're going to need this for later. On Cycling Road, I'm going to pick up 2 optional battles. One is against this biker with a single Weezing. Dig easily one-shots it and he gives good experience. I pick up the rare candy afterwards. And the next is against this biker with 2 Weezings and a Coughing. Dig also one-shots his entire team and he gives pretty good experience. I could battle the biker boss at the end of Cycling Road, as Scott calls him, for extra experience. And there's another biker on the left-hand side of Cycling Road that has a Weezing and Muck that gives good experience, but this is all Sandslash needs. Once I arrive in town, I immediately head to the Safari Zone to pick up the final HMs of the run, but I'm also going to pick up a Carbos that I always skip. I mentioned back in Celadon that speed was going to be an issue later, just keep it in the back of your mind. After getting Surf Strength and the Warden Candy, I head into Koga's gym. The jugglers are no problem, and I expect the Poison type specialist to be the same. Up until this point in the run, Misty was the only gym leader whose intro I put in, and to this point she's the only gym leader that's deserved one, nearly giving Sandslash its first reset. And Koga, as you can see, well, his team is nearly a one-shot sweep. Even with badge boost, Dig can't one-shot the Weezing, doing just over half, and the only move it has that can deal damage to Sandslash is Self-Destruct, which is not very effective against a Steel type. Remember when I said heading to Cinnabar to battle Blaine after Koga would be a poor choice for Sandslash? Well, look where I'm heading, but I'm not battling Blaine right now and have no plans to. I actually want to head through Cinnabar Mansion. There's a Carbos I can pick up here, along with the TM for Blizzard, and of course 2 rare candies. With that pit stop out of the way, I'm going to head to Silph Co, and I'm going to head immediately to the 10th floor. We all know about the one rocket grunt who guards the Carbos, rare candy, and TM for Earthquake. But look at how much damage his Machoke's low kick does to me. It's a good thing that this Pokemon doesn't have access to submission yet, and that there's no other good fighting type moves in Generation 1. After the battle, I claim my prizes, the Carbos, the rare candy, and the TM for Earthquake. After grabbing the card key, I'm going to take the teleport pad that's near the stairs and elevator on the 5th floor and grab the TM for Swords Dance as well, which is going to go on my moveset right away. Before taking on the rival, I'm going to battle the Hypno Sandwich so that Sandslash levels up to 40 and hopefully doesn't level up in the middle of that battle. But things don't always work out as planned. I immediately start off by setting up all 3 of my Swords Dance. This could be dangerous because Pidgeot still does have Sand Attack on its learn set. Luckily, its one use of it fails after my 3rd Swords Dance, and Body Slam begins its sweep, until I level up after knocking out the Gyarados. I still outspeed the Alakazam and one-shot it, and last is Charizard. Body Slam gets a critical hit, nullifying my attack boosts. It retaliates with Ember, and a non-crit brings me to 40 HP. If Ember is doing this much, when this thing has Flamethrower in the next battle, that will obliterate Sandslash if it connects. And with Blaine right around the corner, how is that battle going to go? Will I even get a setup opportunity for a move like Dig to one-shot Arcanine, or even outspeed it or the Rapidash? I do have a plan in mind for Blaine, but for now, I'm going to focus on what's in front of me, which is Giovanni. The rocket before him got me pretty low on HP thanks to 2 of his Pokemon having ground-type moves. However, once I'm fully set up, I can just sweep his team, and the same is said for Sabrina. I set up 1 Swords Dance and sweep through her team. No intro for her. Cinnabar gym time. I mentioned I had a plan for Blaine. While I could have fought some optional trainers, I don't think that would be necessary. Instead, I'm going to use rare candies. I've collected 9 to this point, skipping the Gentleman Candy, and I accidentally used one on Spearow, which is really frustrating. I can't remember the last time I saved my game, so I'm just gonna roll roll with it. Hopefully this doesn't come back to bite me in the ass. Now with 8 in my bag, I level up Sandslash from 44 to 50. Now it's time to take on the Fire-type specialist. Blaine leads with Growlithe. I set up one Swords Dance hoping that's all I need to outspeed his team, and it hits me with Ember, critting me and bringing me to a nice amount of HP. Dig then one-shots it and Ponyta. I probably should have went for Body Slam just to speed this up some. I outspeed the Rapidash and Dig one-shots it. And I outspeed Arcanine, don't get a Gen 1 miss, and one-shot it as well. I don't think this would have been possible 6 levels lower. Let's jump right into the battle against Giovanni. I'm going to set up twice on Rhyhorn. This is just to make sure I outspeed Dugtrio, because a critical hit by Dig would hurt. I only lose 5 HP the entire battle, as I 1 or 2 shot his entire team. Alright, Rival 6. Ever since Silph Co, I haven't been looking forward to this battle. The big question will be, will I outspeed the Charizard with Badge Boost, or will I get lucky and it goes for something like Slash or Rage? I don't set up Swords Dance until Execute comes in, and you see me hesitate on just going for Icicle Spear, and I should have done this. It just charges for Solar Beam as Icicle Spear knocks it out with 2 hits. Gyarados is a 2-shot with Body Slam as it doesn't even attack me due to getting paralyzed, but I level up after knocking it out. And this isn't a bad thing. I can set up twice on the Alakazam who just goes for Reflect and hits me with a weak Psybeam that doesn't confuse me. Body Slam easily takes it out. Last is Charizard. I outspeed, Body Slam doesn't crit like in the last battle, and I one-shot it. Because of the mistake I made earlier by feeding a rare candy to Spearow, I'm going to pick up the candy here in Victory Road. This will bring my total back up to 3 before the league, and I'm not going to pick up any optional battles in Victory Road. I'm not going to pop any of the 3 rare candies I have just yet, or teach Rock Slide before Lorelei. Is Sandslash ready for the league? Let's see. Lorelei is first, and this one is simple. Set up Swords Dance and Sweep. I don't one-shot the Dugong due to a critical hit, and Cloyster barely hangs on from a Body Slam. It retaliates with Clamp, which is a bit annoying, but thankfully it's only a 2-turn Clamp, and once it ends, I can sweep the rest of her team. Bruno could potentially be dangerous though. If I were to crit on the Machamp and then it goes for submission and hits, that might one-shot me. Another loss condition would be if I don't one-hit the Hitmonchan, like let's say I crit and it's left on a Sliver, it could potentially use Counter, and that would one-shot me as well. Like with Lorelei, I'm going to set up on his first Pokemon. I've taught Earthquake in the place of Dig, and it sweeps through his entire team except for the Machamp, who I do crit against. It goes for submission, and this is the moment of truth. How much will this do? Well, we don't find out because it misses, and that's the second league member down. Agatha is next. Her Gengars are faster than Sandslash, and the first one confuses me. I do get a Swords Dance off, but then I hit myself in confusion. I should also note that I didn't use an Ether or Elixir before this battle because I thought 4 Earthquakes would be enough. And once I shake off the confusion, it is. I'm able to sweep through her entire team, but I want you to look at something here on the final Gengar. It goes for Toxic and poisons me. A Steel type. I found this strange because the Steel type is coded correctly to be immune to poison type moves. If you have an idea why this happened, let me know in the comments. But let's move past this and move on to Lance. I debated teaching Blizzard before the battle, but opted not to. I'm able to set up twice on Gyarados, but its Hydro Pump brings me to 32 HP. I have to go in the offensive now. I knock it out with Body Slam, but I level up unfortunately, and now I won't outspeed the Aerodactyl, and I also crit on the first Dragonair. Luckily for me, instead of choosing Dragon Rage, which would have knocked me out, Lance uses a Hyper Potion, allowing me a second chance. I don't get a crit this time, knocking it out in one hit, along with his second Dragonair, leading to the Aerodactyl. My move of choice is of course going to be Icicle Spear, as it goes for Supersonic and misses. Icicle Spear adds insult to injury, getting a critical hit, knocking out the Aerodactyl over 2 hits, along with the Dragonite. Before facing the champion, I'm going to teach Sandslash Rock Slide. Earthquake has no use in the next battle since 3 of his Pokemon are immune to it. I also opt to delete Icicle Spear for Blizzard just to get more oomph out of my stab move. Alright, are you ready for a wave of pain that is this final battle? Pidgeot is first and I miss my opening Rock Slide as it mirror moves it, also missing. My second hit's doing well over half as it charges for Sky Attack. I opt to knock it out with Blizzard. I level up after knocking it out and I think to myself, this is perfect. I'm free to set up on Rhydon now. Before Rhydon, I have to deal with Alakazam though. Body Slam is a 2-shot on it, which is a bit surprising. Its Psychic and Psybeam bring me down to a third of my HP before I knock it out. Against Rhydon though, I can fully set up. Aside from the annoying Fury attack, it helps me out with a Tail Whip before I take it out with Blizzard. 4 badge boosts going into Exeggutor, which I one-shot with Blizzard. It's always nice to one-shot this thing. Gyarados falls to a single Rock Slide, but then I level up going into the Charizard. This is bad. Because of this, it outspeeds me, hits a Fire Blast, and knocks out Sandslash. I couldn't believe it. The first reset of the run is against the champion. I use my 3 candies I had in my bag before the next battle, but I still level up after Gyarados. Charizard is still faster, and Fire Blast once again knocks me out. In terms of real time, Sandslash began the champion fight at 38 minutes and 10 seconds. It was poised to clock in under 40 minutes, but that's out the window now. I even have this attempt where I make it to the Charizard having only lost 4 HP the entire battle. But even without a crit, Fire Blast still takes me out. And to add insult to injury, Gyarados takes me out in the next battle, critting Hydro Pump. Could the candy I accidentally used on Spearow have helped out? What about the candy I skipped on the SSN? Sandslash could theoretically be level 63 with those. Would that have been enough to get past this fight? I have 8 losses to the champion at this point, and in the 9th battle, Charizard decides to go for Fire Spin, a less accurate move than Fire Blast, and a new way to lose. But the attack only lasts 2 turns, and if it misses now, then Sandslash can win this, provided that it hits. Charizard chooses Fire Blast, and it misses. Finally! Rock Slide, don't fail me now. I see the animation come on screen and connect with the Fire Lizard, one-shotting it, and this run is finally over. Sandslash finishes with a real time of 44 minutes and 44 seconds. That's over 6.5 minutes just taking loss after loss to the champion, with 8 total losses to the champion at level 61, with a final in-game time of 2 hours and 34 minutes. And I won't lie to you, after that champion battle, I really didn't want to do a second playthrough with this one, and it took me a while to do so. I didn't record a replay file for this one, so I couldn't just backtrack to before the champion to see if adding 2 rare candies to my inventory would really make a difference. So, here we are in playthrough number 2. Let's see what relevant things happened. 2 things that disappointed me about this playthrough. My overworlding was trash, and the RNG for catching my HM users was not on my side. I wasted 10 balls trying to catch a Pidgey, and later ran out in Mount Moon trying to catch a Paris. The first what I would consider a mistake of this run was on the SSN. Before this playthrough, while looking over some things of my first one, I told myself, you don't need Body Slam, you can just teach Rock Slide when you get to Celadon. Then while doing this playthrough, I got a call from my wife while she was at the store asking me some things about Easter dinner, and muscle memory took over and I picked it up anyways. I didn't want to restart the run because I had somewhere I had to be within 45 minutes to an hour, so I just rolled with it. Keeping Icicle Crash, which I later replaced with Rock Slide, made Erica a lot easier. I even get a lucky flinch on the Victory Bell so it can't status me. And Rock Slide makes Rival 4 a much smoother battle, along with Rival 5. This time before Blaine, I don't accidentally use a candy on an HM user. I still level up to 50 before facing the Fire-type specialist, and you'll notice in this battle, I don't have Swords Dance on my learn set. I did pick up the TM, but I'm saving it. I'm trying to see if keeping Defense Curl would be the better play, although I do have an idea for the champion. I do set up twice against Growlithe and get unlucky with Rock Slide missing as Ember brings me under half, but from there, my next Rock Slide hits Ponyta, and I use Dig take to finish him off. We're going to jump ahead to the league, and this is where I considered teaching Sword Stance over Defense Curl. I don't get the luck that I got in my first playthrough with Dewgong just spamming Rest, and it actually goes for Growl and Aurora Beam, getting attack drops from Aurora Beam as well. Because I'm doing such pathetic damage to it and the Cloyster, I just decided to take the early reset, which is my second overall. I had one to Rival 5, which I failed to mention. I don't get any attack drops in the second battle, and although I level up after the Slowbro, I outspeed the Jinx and Lapras and one-shot both with Rock Slide. Well, I two-shot the Lapras, but Lorelei uses a super potion, so it really doesn't matter. After defeating Lance, Sandslash is level 58, and I have 5 extra rare candies to bring it to level 63. I'm also going to delete Earthquake off of its moveset for Swords Dance, and we're gonna get some double badge boosting action in this champion battle. The nice thing about level 63 is that I can outspeed the Alakazam at this level, so I don't have to worry about getting a Psybeam or Psychic from it. But just like in the first battle, as soon as I knock out Gyarados, I level up. But at level 64, I outspeed Charizard, and thankfully Rock Slide hits, one-shotting it. In its follow-up, Alolan Sandslash finishes with a real time of 41 minutes and 49 seconds, nearly 3 minutes faster than the previous time, at level 64, with an in-game time of 2 hours and 42 minutes. I think if I were to do a third playthrough, I could improve both the real time and in-game time, especially with better overworlding. Running into trainers I didn't want to battle and picking up items like Body Slam definitely added up for the game time. And this Pokemon is really good. I feel like the playthroughs are a pick your poison. Do you want to luck it through with a Fire Blast miss, or do you want something more consistent and getting to the champion at a higher level? If you want to try this run for yourself, I do make the patch files available for members, and you'll also get access to Pokemon I have yet to bring to the channel, like Necrozma. Anyway, I hope you guys are enjoying these regional backports as much as I am. I'm still undecided as to what I want to do for my 2,000 subscriber special, but I'm still fielding questions for that you want answered in the video, so if you have any, by all means, leave them in the comments for me. I'm gonna get to work on the next video. Catch you in my next one. Take care, everybody.